Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Today, I'll be telling you my theory about SpongeBob, which is the Great Bikini Bottom War. That's right guys, we're going into the war. We're going into the theories. SpongeBob in the front lines. Let's go. So part 1, Mr. Krabs. I think this is an important part for it. The evidence for this is the training video. Now, in the training video, it's like an important episode of the show, which like goes on and talks through like the things to do for it. But in a part of it, which is in every video about the theory, is talks about Mr. Krabs in the war, and in the war it says from the deep depression, and that goes into the next part, Pearl's mom. Now, if you don't know who Alex Bell is, he made an entire theory on it, and basically has like good evidence for the theory, where Miss Krabs and Mother Pearl or stuff like that, and it shows like his PTSD, which as you can see right here, and there's evidence of like a giant whale that he hunted on, like pictures of it on his wall. And third piece of evidence, war buddies. Now, if there's multiple episodes, but one of like the most important one is what was it? Shell of his former self or something. Well, it's where Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob they go to Mr. Krabs' like shelter or something. Like just a gathering of like war buddies, and like there's multiple people he meets there, and they call him Armor Abs Crabs and stuff like that. Like there's pretty much good evidence for it, since there's a guy with a nuke in his chest. Flashbacks. This also proves war buddies, and the flashbacks it's like basically showing him on like his journey, their war, him finding out about Chum, stuff like that, and like him fighting off pirates and stuff like that. Like a bunch of good evidence of flashbacks. The way he speaks to his employees. Now this one, it pretty much like explains itself. Like he just, every time like there's something important going on in Krusty Krab, he like says front and center, like just gives like orders to them, commands like he's a general, like the military. The traps of Krusty Krab. Now, I think this one is a really important one. Every time, like I think even like the first or second episode, like it shows when like Plankton trying to steal a formula, then all of a sudden like the entire thing is like full lockdown mode, like full on, like a full on like second layer of metal through the Krusty Krab. Also ventilation systems from True for Square. I think that's what it was. True for Square, yeah. Where like there's like entire ventilation system, and like you would only need that if like you're preparing for like a war. And also in the movie where like there's entire cannon on top of the Krusty Krab and stuff like that. And PTSD, like that's basically back to him saying Mother of Pearl, stuff like that. And that pretty much explains part 1. On to part 2. Part 2, Atlantis. The evidence for this is military. Now, if you know anything about SpongeBob, you would know SquarePantis and Atlantis SquarePantis. And there's literally like military, like full-on tanks, like fly bombers, or just a entire military of like entire army of them. A hidden city of Atlantis. You would only have to hide a city if like you were scared of like a war or something like that. Which also like the riches, like they have like tons of gold, to where Mr. Krabs almost had a seizure. You would hide your city from like because you have like valuable resources, and you know like there would be like a war there. Also King King Neptune's an important one. He'll also come up at the end of the slide presentation. King Neptune, like, there's a literal king of the sea there. Like, why would there be a king of the sea? If there's a king of the sea, there'd be, like, multiple wars. So that pretty much just proves the theory of, like, a king, King Neptune, a god, a literal god. Part 3, superheroes. Now, this is an important one. Evidence, superheroes and villains. Merman and Barnacle Boy. Now, hold on. Superheroes for this. You would need heroes to fight crime. You would also need heroes if there's a time of war, which PTSD that comes back from Merman, like he has entire thing of him, but also scientists. Now, scientists, they'll be making. It's a time of war, okay? In time of war, you need to make like drastic measures, which scientists will make superheroes, to help them fight in the war and stuff like that. Like, but also supervillains is also proves it, because supervillains, like, they would have PTSD, or they'd be like, the scientists do something bad to them, so they have to, like, they become villains. The age, so in the flashbacks, Merman and Barnacle Boy, they're like 20 or 30 years old, and like they're fully, like, they have entire, like, Justice League of Super Acquaintances, like full-on superhero squads to fight in the war, and maybe some of them were killed in the war, because as you would know, well, that would also be old age, so I guess, okay, whatever. Recruitment of regular fish. Now, there's entire, squad, no, fan clubs with Patrick and SpongeBob, and like an entire, like, nerd fan base, and so if you have, like, a recruitment of fish, you would use the fish to make, like, more superheroes in case of a war. And, like, just military, police force, stuff like that. Retirement. Now, they retired being superheroes, mainly one because of old age, but also, like, they had nothing to do, because, like, there was, like, no more work going on until they pretty much had no use for them. Okay, part 4, Sandy and the mainland. Now, this is a big one. Evidence, Sandy and Frenchie. So, Frenchie, he's basically a biologist studying the sea. Now, Sandy, she basically had no, like, right or, like, nothing to do, but she came down into the ocean to, like, study it. And she used Frenchie, he's like a head engineer, scientist with submarines. So why would they have submarines in the ocean? Mainly one, so they could travel through, like, the ocean and stuff like that. But I had myself here. Okay, hold on. So I got Sandy and Frenchie pretty much narrowed down. Bikini Atoll. Now, you know Bikini Atoll, like, that's basically the whole reason for Rock Bottom and SpongeBob. So the thing about Bikini Atoll is they launched nukes into the ocean. The radiation from the nukes made life in the ocean. Now, the fish in there, they're having a good old brand of life, but then all of a sudden people decide to bomb them. So then that's basically kind of the whole cause of the war. Hooks and boats. Now in this also goes back to Mr. Krabs with his flashbacks. In the episode Hooks, there's, like, fishermen, they're like throwing hooks in the ocean trying to catch fish. Now, while they catch fish, if they pretty much have, like, an entire thing with, like, the ocean, like, they don't hunt down anything down there, so why would they go in there if they're making another war? But they basically just left after that one episode, so maybe Frenchie and Sandy talked to them about that, because the entire episode, Sandy, she wasn't there. So maybe she went with Frenchie, told him about it, and then they made a truce. Camera crew. Now, if you haven't watched Alex Bell, this also goes back to his videos. He made an entire video entire theory about it, saying like Sandy and Frenchie like they're a part of the camera crew making the show, and that's how it's gonna be in the next one. No, the other one. So part 5, graveyards, evidence, skeletons. So, alright, about this. There's like mass graveyards and multiple skeletons throughout the entire show. But some of the skeletons are humans and some of them are fish. Now why would there be multiple graveyards if and multiple skeletons if like something happened, which goes to the war? Hidden ships. Now in one of the episodes of SpongeBob, I forgot which one it was, but they find a hidden ship with coins or something like that. But they also find a skeleton. That skeleton was a human skeleton. Now, this goes to the thing with the Flying Dutchman. Now, Flying Dutchman, as you know, he's right there, Flying Dutchman. Now, the Flying Dutchman, he's a pirate, a ghost pirate. Now, why would he be haunting the seas and all that stuff if he was in the war? And he was a human, but he had died in the war, so now he haunts Bikini Bottom because of that. He was number 1. Now, when I figured out he was number 1, like, why would they, like, make a grave for a guy saying he was number 1? Now, when I think about that, is he was probably, like, the best soldier in the war. Which is why Mr. Krabs, he's scared about it, so he goes into, well, he wanted money, but, you know, that. So he goes into the graveyard, digs up the grave, steals the hat to give it back to SpongeBob or sell it. But then an entire graveyard of skeletons all of a sudden just attack him. Now that he was number 1, he was probably the best soldier in the war, and Mr. Krabs stole from his body. Stole from him, and now all of a sudden he has an entire army of skeletons on him because he just harmed one of their people. Part 6. The end of the war. This is important. Evidence, Plankton. Now, we know Plankton. He's a scientist, an evil genius. So, this goes back to Sandy. When she found out about Plankton, he was probably making machinery for the war, because he was in the war with Mr. Krabs, and he doesn't say it. He was alive back then. So, maybe Plankton, he was part of the people making super soldiers, like Merman and Barnacle Boy. So, they know he's like a super, like, smart scientist making these villains and heroes, so they decide to stop him, to stop the war for it, but also because they would need him for, like, bigger stuff. So that's why they have Sandy help him in some of the videos, in some episodes. SpongeBob the TV show. Now this goes back to the camera crew and to Sandy. I think they had potential for it, which Frenchie, he was like basically like observing everything, and he's seeing like this cool sponge guy, and it's like, well, maybe what if we make a TV show and get rich? So that's pretty much that. The camera crew going down there, observing them, and Sandy and Mr. Krabs and stuff like that. King Neptune, Atlantis, and the sea monsters. Now, this one is probably the most important ones with connected to the superheroes and that stuff. I pretty much explained that. But I think they would end the war because there's a little god of the sea there. Like, he was probably like killing hundreds of people. And the armies from Atlantis, that's also a part of the thing why they had to hide Atlantis and their gold, because the above land people, they seen like how powerful they were. Now, sea monsters. If you watch SpongeBob, you know there's like hundreds of sea monsters in there. So like, that's probably all the hidden ships and skeletons of humans, because they're being killed by the ginormous sea monsters. And well, that's pretty much the theory. Now, if you like the theory or have any questions and like comments saying that's a stupid theory, or just want to talk about it at all, you could join my Discord or talk about in the comments. And if you want to see more of these theories or some theories of your own that want me to like tag along with, I'll be glad to post in comments or on my Discord server. And that's pretty much it. See ya.